Most men think women choose based on what's visible: looks, status, wealth. But that's rarely the full truth. Women don't always choose the man who seems the best on paper. They choose the man who stirs something deeper in. Instinct, a resonance, a felt sense of stability. That's why she might flirt with you, smile at your jokes, hold your gaze, and still vanish. Not because you weren't enough, but because something didn't click beneath the surface. You mistook attention for intention, attraction for commitment. What you didn't realize is that her decision is already underway quietly, unconsciously, and often long before she ever makes a move. A woman doesn't always choose with words. She chooses with feeling, and that feeling isn't random. It's shaped by the way you hold yourself when no one's watching. So let us talk about what she is. Truly scanning foreign, what she must become if you wish to be chosen by more than her body. If you want her respect, not just her attention, if you want to stop performing for affection and start attracting through presence. Rule 1, women choose men who are still when tested. A woman is not looking for a man she can control. She's looking for a man who cannot be moved. Not by chaos, not by accusation, not even by affection. You may think being emotionally safe means being soft. It doesn't. It means being solid. Stoics taught that true composure arises not from numbness, but from discipline. A man who has trained his mind to be undisturbed when the world storms around him. That man is rare, and she can feel it. If you're single, you walk into a room. You don't try to dominate the space. You simply inhabit it fully. You speak with intent. You listen more than you talk. You carry a quiet strength that doesn't need to explain itself. Other men try to impress her. You stay grounded. She senses the contrast. Her instincts lean in. If you're in a relationship, the storm might look like this. She brings up the past. She's emotional, maybe accusatory. You feel the pull to react, to defend, to win, but you don't. You breathe. You stay open but firm. You don't try to fix her emotions. You remain anchored in your own. And strangely, though she may raise her voice, though she may cry, she feels safer. Not because you gave her control, but because you didn't lose your... The Stoics said, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. So stop imagining rejection in every test. Stop fearing the discomfort. Face it with presence. Let your stillness speak louder than words. Because the truth is, women don't fall for men who match their emotions. They fall for men who master their own. Rule 2. Women choose men who remain mysterious. Predictability kills polarity. When you are fully known, fully available, fully decoded, something shifts. The mystery dies. And with it, so does part of the desire. This doesn't mean you become distant or manipulative. It means you remain a question she never fully answers. A presence that cannot be tamed by assumption. If you're single, you speak with calm brevity. You vanish when you need to focus, not to provoke, but because your mission comes first. You let tension grow. And in that space, she wonders, she imagines, she leans in. You become less of a man and more of a myth. If you're in a relationship, you guard your inner world. You don't offer every emotion like an open book. Not out of withdrawal, but out of intention. You let her feel your love butts. You keep part of yourself untouched. Not as a weapon, but as a sacred core. A mystery that remains yours alone. She feels that. And she respects it, because a man who reveals everything all at once is a man who eventually becomes invisible. So don't just tell her who you are. Let her experience you. Let your values speak. Let your boundaries teach. Let your silence create gravity. The Stoics believed in restraint not as a suppression, but as a signal of mastery. You don't have to shout your worth. Let her earn it, moment by moment. Rule 3. Women choose men who are respected by others. You don't live in isolation. You are seen, judged, and reflected through the eyes of the world. And women, consciously or not, pay attention to how others treat you. Do people look to you for guidance? Do they remember your presence when you leave? Is there gravity in your work? Because when others value you, she feels it without needing to be told. It reframes how she sees you not just as a man, but as a man others admire. And admiration is contagious. If you're single and you walk through a room, others not. Friends call your name. A woman smiles, your way nuts, your target. Just another who feels your vibe. She watches, not with jealousy, but with curiosity. Who is this man? Others recognize. You haven't begged for attention. You've simply earned it in silence. That's stoic. Power not flamboyant, but undeniable. If you're in a relationship, don't let love make you soft. Stay in your mission, evolve, train, read, lead, be. Be the man she once admired, not to compete, but to stay aligned with yourself. A man who stays respected beyond the walls of his home reminds his partner, this is not a man I control. This is a man I get to walk beside. And that reminder is powerful. Rule 4. Women choose men who lead the emotional climate in times of peace. Anyone can seem composed, but when emotion swells, when the room tightens with conflict or confusion, very few remain calm. Very few hold the frame. That's when she watches you most closely. Because she's not asking if you're nice or smart or funny in that moment. She's watching to see if your emotional center holds when hers does not. This is what the Stoics meant by sovereignty, the ability to govern your inner world. Regardless of the outer storm, when she gets upset, most men panic. They match her chaos. They argue, defend, beg. But the Stoic man doesn't absorb her energy. He anchors his own. If you're single, she might tease you, pull away, or test you with silence. And most men will chase, explain, adjust. But you smile. You hold your pace. You stay grounded in your purpose. You'll let her feelings move through, but you don't get caught in them. And because of that, she starts to follow your emotional rhythm without even realizing it. If you're in a relationship, the scene might look like this. She's heated, accusing, maybe even cruel in her tone. You're tempted to respond in kind, but instead, you breathe, you pause, you speak low and slow. You don't shut down, but you also don't get pulled in. This is not emotional suppression, it's leadership. Because when she loses her cinder, she wants to know if you've kept your... The Stoics had a word for this kind of calm. Ataraxia, tranquility of the soul, unbothered by chaos. This is not indifference. It's presence without panic. And it allows you to lead not by force, but by emotional example. So next time she tests your foundation, don't react, reflect, don't escalate ground. Let her feel the stability she's silently seeking, not in what you say, but in how little you are moved. Rule 5. Women choose men who can walk away. There is a strange paradox at the core of desire. The man who is willing to lose her is the one who never has to. Because when you make her affection your oxygen, she can feel it. And she will test it not out of cruelty, but to see if you have a spine beneath the smile. A woman will test your limits to see if they're real. If you bend every time, if you explain yourself endless, if you betray your own values to keep her near, she might still stay, but she won't respect you. If you're single and she pulls away, ghosts you, or flirts just to provoke you, what do? You don't chase, you don't complain, you vanish. Not to punish her, but because you do not seek to convince. You are never competing for her affection. You are standing in your truth, and that truth doesn't need applause. If you're in a relationship and she disrespects your boundary again, you don't beg, you don't explode. You simply step back. And this time, you don't come running back with gifts or apologies for holding the line. Because if you abandon yourself for love, it's not love you've earned. It's permission to keep betraying yourself. The Stoics knew that attachment leads to suffering not because love is wrong, but because dependency distorts virtue. And a man who has lost his virtue to gain attention has already lost far more than her. Let her feel the absence of your presence, not to cause pain, but to reveal the value of your being. Because the moment she knows you'd rather lose her than lose yourself, she sees you differently, not as a puppet, but as a pillar. The Stoics taught, he is a wise man who is content with his lot, whatever it may be. So even if she walks away, you are whole. Even if she never comes back, you are steady. That's power, not dominance. But detachment, not coldness, but clarity. And that's the man she never One final note before we continue. If you've listened this far, you're already different. Most men won't reach this point. They'll keep guessing, performing, chasing. But you've begun the inward journey. So keep going. You're not just learning how to attract women. You're learning how to be unshakable. There's a kind of man who's unforgettable not because he pleases or performs, but because he's solid, quiet, rooted. He does not speak loudly. Yet when he speaks, people listen. Not because he demands attention, but because he does not need it. That's the Stoic man. The man who no longer performs. This man no longer contorts himself to be chosen. He doesn't dress his words to avoid disapproval. He doesn't carry the emotional burden of trying to be loved, because he has already chosen himself. As Epictetus said, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. This is what most men miss. They think the work is external, status, money. But the real work is inward. It's building a spine made of principle. It's walking into the world knowing who you are and refusing to trade that for affection. Because the man who builds his identity on attention is a shadow of a man. The mirror of real presence. Here's the truth most never admit. Women don't just feel your word. They feel your presence. And if that presence is grounded, not reactive, not seeking, not fragile, cuts through everything. She might not understand it. She might not even know why she feels it, but she senses it in her body. This man is different. He does not orbit her approval. He stands in his own gravity. And ironically, that's when attraction stops being a game. Because this man, he doesn't perform. He doesn't explain his worth. He lives it. He's still. And in that stillness, she sees herself more clearly too. She doesn't want a savior. She wants the truth. There's this idea spread in romance in movies, even in self-help, that women want rescuing, that they want men who sweep in and save them from the chaos. But that's not love. That's codependence. The kind of woman you want, she's done her work too. She's walked through her own shadow. She's dropped the illusions. She doesn't want a savior. She wants truth. She doesn't want a man to complete her. She wants a man who doesn't need to be completed either. Because only when two people meet from wholeness, not from need, not from wounds, can love be real. And it's not flashy, it's not dramatic, but it's rare. And it's worth it. Become the man who doesn't settle for less. You don't get this kind of love by chasing it. You don't earn it by lowering your standard or betraying yourself to be accepted. You earn it by becoming unshakable, by walking alone when necessary, by telling yourself the truth, even when it hurts, by breathing through the ache instead of numbing it, by showing up with integrity when nobody's watching. You earn it in the silence, in the discipline, in the choice to live by values, not validation. That's what Marcus Aurelius meant when he wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. You attract with presence, not performance from this day forward. Let this be your path. You don't need to be chosen. You choose. You don't fear solitude. You embody it. You don't seek to impress. You seek to express what's true. What's steady? What's deeply you? Because the man who owns his soul doesn't sell it for affection. He commands attention not through volume, but through stillness. And in relationships, that's what remains. Not the one who shouts the loudest, not the one who gives the most, but the one who stood still in his truth and let the world orbit him instead. This is the end of the game and the start of the path. So, if you've been tired of playing a part, if you've lost yourself trying to earn someone's love, if you've felt unseen, unheard, unwanted, let that pain burn off the illusion. Let it awaken the deeper truth. You are not here to chase. You are here to choose. You are not here to be molded. You are here to be remembered. And you will be by the ones who matter, not because you begged, but because you stood still when others bent. Not because you tried harder, but because you let go of what was never truly yours. Not because you made her your purpose, but because you made yourself your priority. This is the Stoic path. It isn't crowded, it isn't loud, but it is free. And it begins now with you. If you walk it all the way.